What's up, guys? I just wanted to give a couple of my thoughts on the footage that was released today about NASCAR Heat Evolution. And there's not a lot I could say and really dissect because it's a beta, it's an early gameplay footage release. I'm glad they did it. I wasn't expecting it to be so soon, but overall, I gotta admit, it's promising. I like what I see. I'm not going to get into the lack of a paint booth. I did that already, and I don't want to beat it to death. And I want to try to give these guys that opportunity of, hey, this is their first uh, release on this franchise. And so I'm just going to try to look at what's there and what I think of it. First of all, the graphics, they're not mind-blowing, but they're not bad. They're sharp. They're as good as you could expect, I guess, the first time out. They could always be a little better, a little more polished, but overall, not bad. The only thing that stood out to me right off the bat, graphics wise, there were some inaccuracies at the road course. Trees that really aren't at the track. I think they just added certain things just to make it look better. I'm not going to kill them on that. This stuff is not as important. Overall, the tracks did look solid. The cars looked good, but there was something that stood out about the cars, and I looked at all the videos that were released, and some of them I just looked at them again. I wanted to see if it was just me, but the cars had this weird, milky, or let's say this. They looked dusty. Like the the cars didn't look vibrant and punchy like they normally do. Almost like they were just covered in dust, or like I said, milky, opaque. Um, there was something weird about it, and it kind of, when you look at the cars and then you look at the whole picture as a whole, it kind of stood out almost like when you're watching a movie with bad CGI, where something, it's really obvious when something's uh, computer generated, and then in contrast to the rest of the picture. I don't want to say it's that bad, but it I can't help it. It sticks out, and it looks weird, and I saw it in every video. It wasn't just like one video. It wasn't like sun glare. The cars just didn't look punchy or vibrant. The colors were very mildewy. Like, I don't know. The cars just looked like they had some dust on them. So the good news is that stuff is very easy to fix. The game is in a beta stage. This is just an early release. I'm sure they're going to polish that up and fix that. But I had to point it out. It was kind of weird. I couldn't stop noticing it. Okay, that aside, the cars looked good, and overall, the graphics weren't bad at all. So I can't complain about that. Uh, the other thing I noticed, which was a positive, was the implementation of some customization. Like, you can customize your own character. That really surprised me. I was not expecting that, especially since these guys said we couldn't do a paint booth. I didn't think you were going to get any customization. The fact that they put that much into it, I'm surprised, and I'm pleasantly surprised at that. So I have to give them credit. Um, if I have to be, if I can be honest, I have to admit I wasn't that impressed with the actual quality of the graphics of the customization of your character. It kind of looked like something from last gen, but I'm not complaining. This is a bonus. It's nice. It had a lot more customization than I would expect. So that was a nice surprise. And I'm hoping that these guys have more surprises in store. That they didn't come out earlier and say, oh, we're going to have this, this, and that. So that's a very nice surprise. So it's good to see that at least they're thinking about things like that. Those are the type of things that excite me. I like it. I think it adds some sense of immersion into the game, and it's nice. I thought we were just going to step into the cars and you were going to have a generic looking character, just like all the Eutechnics games. So I was happy about that. So it's nice to see it, and considering it's their first game and it's only in a beta stage, I can't complain about the quality of the graphics too much. Okay, it's just a nice start. So I gotta give them props for that. The other thing I noticed, and again, keeping in mind it's just a beta, they still have time to polish it, work on it, make it better. But I did notice the most important aspect of this game, which is the AI. You got to get that right. That's what's been wrong with all the previous games. So I was really looking forward to this. And I have to say, I noticed some positives, and I also noticed some question marks. No negatives, question marks. That just means, hey, it's a beta. They only showed us, an early sample, and you got to know that, hey, they're still working on it. It's going to be better when they release it, hopefully. But the first thing that stood out to me, and it's one of the things I hated most about the Eutechnics games, was the pack racing at every track. And in this game, with the little bit that we saw, there were no extended long runs. This was just a bunch of quick little, sprints, couple of laps. But I noticed the cars do start to spread out rather quickly, which I love that. That I was afraid they would do this, what Eutechnics did, and just said, you know what, we're just going to design every track for the cars to race like they're at Daytona or Talladega, like a restrictor plate race, which was something that, one of the worst parts of those games. I hated it. And so far, from what I see, it looks like they put effort into making sure that the AI does spread out. Okay? And we only got to see a couple of laps, small sprints. So I would expect that as you play the game, the final version, and you run into a long, long run, the field's going to continue to spread apart, which is great. I love that, and so that's another positive bonus that I was happy to see. The question mark for me is the it just seemed a bit arcadey in as far as difficulty. Every race I saw, the the guy was making passes like gobbling up cars like they were standing still. The closing rate of the cars were way too it was ridiculous, too fast. Now, this could be that this new adaptive AI that they're implementing is just hasn't adapted to whoever's playing it, and you're gonna have to run for a while and then it'll adjust. And of course, these guys only ran a few laps and the game's not gonna adjust that quickly. I can understand that. And also, again, we're in the beta stage, so but just looking at how easy it was to make passes, I don't like seeing stuff like that. But I'm going to reserve further judgment on that. Like I said, I would consider this a question mark. Now, the way that it's supposed to work, it's supposed to adapt and then get more difficult. So if all things go according to plan, this isn't going to be an issue. So I like the cars spreading apart, and I like the overall feel of the game. It's not like, oh my god, this looks like garbage. It looks good. Other than the cars, like the contrast, that dusty, dirty look on the cars, that they're gonna fix that. I gotta believe that. Then let's see what else. I gotta say that the overall feel of the game, I didn't see any presentation. I didn't hear them talk about it. I saw one guy finish a race, one of these quick sprints, and they quickly showed a trophy. And you didn't see anybody like in victory lane. You didn't see any celebration. Also, to start the race, it just went into the race. There was no like pre-race countdown of the lineup, who starts where, or none of that stuff that like we used to see many years ago. Again, maybe this is just these quick little single race sprints. Maybe in career mode you get that kind of presentation. Again, I'm only judging what I saw today, so I have to assume there's more. Um, and the other thing that I kind of liked was the setup of the career mode where they show you where you earn money. You start off small, and you got to invest in certain aspects of the team. It's a team building concept. There are things I like about that. There are things I'm kind of The part that I'm iffy on is the. I hope it's not like other games we've seen where the first year or two of your career you don't finish. The best finish you have is 30th or worse. That your car is so terrible you cannot compete at all. I think that's overboard and it's unrealistic, to be quite honest. Even the low level teams, yes, they struggle, but that's not going to be any fun. That you got to kind of like just struggle at the bottom and try to piecemeal a team and try to make the right investments to get out of that basement. On paper, it sounds good, but it hasn't been implemented that well in the past. We've seen it be done before, and it's always been a mixed bag. So hopefully, this version is done better, and it also allows you to be more competitive early on. At least, I'm not saying you got to go out and be able to win races, but and of course, this is going to have something to do with the adaptive AI. But hopefully, you're at least competitive to where you can get some surprising finishes, and especially if you run a long race, you want to see some progress through the race. They didn't show anything about your pitting or making adjustments in the race, anything that has to do with the car management as far as making those adjustments, any of that stuff. And like I said, this is just a quick preview, and they're not going to show you everything. So those things are all question marks. But what I saw so far, I have to say, overall, I was pleasantly surprised. And my fears about this game and where it might be headed, I feel better about it. I'm not saying that, oh my God, this thing looks amazing and it's going to be the greatest game NASCAR game ever. I'm not there, but I see potential, and that's what I wanted to see, especially with this AI. They don't. I didn't see crazy things about them. The other thing I want to mention before I forget just occurred to me. There's another thing that's a huge question mark. I saw several times where the guy that was driving hit these cars, rammed them, and he got the other car to go 90 degrees, smoke everywhere. All right. By the way, the smoke looks good, but there were times where it was like overkill, so they could tone that down a bit. But the smoke itself looks okay. But going back to the AI, you could see them get into almost 90 degrees and not spin out or wreck. They would like save the car and then keep going, and it's like they did that several times. I don't know if it's that the game was set to arcade or whatever, because I do remember I don't know if it was Dusenberry or one of the developers in one of the videos. He did mention that there's a setting that you can put it to simulator, and it's more realistic. And if you hit the wall, it's gonna hurt you. And if you go below the apron, you're gonna wreck. So I'm assuming that this thing was just set on easy, which is why this guy was blowing by people, and the guy was constantly going under the apron. And on Darlington, if you go that far down, you'll spin out, you'll wreck. This guy wasn't doing that. He was just able to save the car, and he was wiggling all over the place, but he never and ramming into people, no caution. He hit the wall, or he over was over aggressive on a turn, and he was able to just catch it and still maintain speed and then still keep making passes. That stuff I'm not gonna come down too hard on that, but that kind of worries me. That's a question mark. But like I said, it could be partly the adaptive AI. It could be the setting. Maybe it's not set to simulator. God, I hope it wasn't. But that stuff stood out to me, and I don't want to see that when I'm playing. But other than that, like I said, for me, I walk away today from all the footage I saw pleasantly surprised, and with a glass half full feeling instead of a glass half empty feeling where you feel negative about the game. I'm kind of feeling positive about it, considering it's in the beta stage, and I was pleasantly surprised that they threw in that little customize your character. Okay, in the future I expect more. Okay, again, it did kind of look like a last gen type of look to it, but it's better than what we've had before. So I gotta I gotta lean towards a positive view outlook on it. But obviously, next year I'm expecting paint booth. I'm expecting customized fire suits. Now you show me you could customize the character. I want to see, at least for the next game, aim for that. Give us customizable fire suits where when you create your car in your paint booth, you can customize your fire suit to match your paint schemes. That would be so awesome. And I'm expecting a better customization of the characters. Even consider maybe doing something like NBA 2K where they let you face scan with the cam. That thing, it works. Okay? It's not always perfect, but it works. And there's no reason why. We're in 2016 now. And then you're going to have the next version. Think about working on stuff like that. That would be awesome. And definitely, I want to see presentation in this game. I want to see pre-race, post-race, all kinds of goodies. But like I said, overall, I like what I see, and I look forward to the next gameplay footage. I look forward to whatever other information they have for us in store to release. So far, I have to say, things are looking good. What did you guys think? And I'll see you guys next time. I'm not going to post another video until they actually post something where I can have an opinion on it. They did release screenshots like a week or two ago, whatever it was. And I didn't make a video because it wasn't, the screenshots looked nice, but it wasn't something that I was going to make a video about. So, what did you guys think? And I look forward to your comments. See you guys.